He's kind enough to join us. Let's not waste any time and say hello to Jake Paul. Jake, how are we feeling? Thanks for doing this, man.
I'm sick, man. I woke up really sick.
Shit,
Sorry about that.
no problem.
That's why I'm late. I feel like shit, but I pulled it together.
Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it under a tough circuit. What are you feeling? Like, is it your body from the fight? Are you feeling like a cold or something? What are you
Oh, it's
feeling?
like I'm like a cold or something. Like it's my nose is stuffy and I'm like coughing up phlegm.
Ah, shit. All right. Well, I'm sorry about this, and I'll make it. I'll make it quick, so we won't, make you feel worse. Congrats on the win. 36 hours later, how do you feel about what you did out there on Saturday?
It's still, pretty crazy to me, beating one of the greatest combat strikers of all time. I'm just proud of myself. I'm proud I was able to execute everything we worked on in the gym. This is the first fight where everything was slowed down for me and I was able to like really, really handle the moment really well. Um, and just executed the game plan perfectly. Felt really comfortable in there. And, here we are, man. It's unbelievable. It's surreal. And I can't believe that I actually pulled it off, but I'm very proud of myself.
What are you thinking in the first round when he's hardly throwing less than Tyron Woodley? Did you expect that, or did you find yourself surprised by that?
Yeah, we expected him to start slow. I think he was just trying to gauge what it was that I was going to do. He was trying to like get my timing. Um, so yeah, he's known for starting slow, and then you know he did pick it up right away though, like in the second round, and he started to get angry.
Yes, and then we saw some of the old antics come out, right? The dancing, even fake that he was going to kick you or something. It was like an interesting little sequence there. When you're like it's one thing to watch that, it's another thing to live that. You lived it. What is that like?
Um, it didn't bother me at all, really. Like I don't get why fighters do all that extra shit because then a couple rounds later they're tired and not doing it anymore. So it's like you just wasted your energy on that and it doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't win you the fight. If anything, it does the opposite. Like judges see that and they're like, oh, he's not pressing the action. And there was a couple of times where he had his hands down and I just fucking jabbed him like 3 times to the body. Um, so I don't know. I don't get why fighters do that. And they think it's like cool. They think it's going to intimidate me or something. I don't know.
Did you feel like he got tired as the fight went on?
Yeah, we both did. We both did. Maybe him more than me for sure, but my body shots were adding up. I threw way, way more body shots than him. And I think that was the difference really in the fight. And it slowed him down as the later rounds went on. And I saw it. I saw it in his eyes. Um, so I don't think he was expecting that from me to throw that many body shots.
I said at the beginning of today's show that the Jake who fought and beat Tyron Woodley in August in Cleveland doesn't win this fight on Saturday. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely agree. Even the Jake that fought Tyron Woodley in Tampa wouldn't have beat this version of Anderson Silva. I have gotten so much better this year, so much sharper. And it's kudos to my team, but also I've only been doing this as a professional for about 3 years now. So this year was the third year where everything really just started to click in the gym. And just handling the moment and the pressure. I think still in those fights in Cleveland and Tampa, uh, I was still learning how to work with the crowd, still learning how to, feel good under the lights, hold in the anticipation of the big moment. So that's art. And now I really have that down and wasn't nervous for this fight at all.
Wow.
And just felt like I was supposed to be there.
Were you surprised by the booze when you came out?
No, no. I mean, I was surprised there was a lot of, I guess, in the sense of like how many people were there for Anderson.
Yeah.
Yes, uh, that was definitely shocking. But I feel like I always get booed, even in my hometown. I was in Cleveland. I was getting booed. I think that's the audience that likes to watch me is 50% they want to see me lose, and 50% are supporting. And there's really no gray area. They're like most people aren't coming to see a fight. They either hate me or they want me to win.
Where did you think you were at going into the eighth? Did you think that you needed to, to stop him in order to win the fight? Was that just an exclamation point? Where did you think you were at mentally?
Um, I thought at that point in time I was up 5 rounds to 2.
Okay.
Um,
So you thought you had it.
so yeah, yeah, I knew I was winning, and I knew that his coaches probably thought that too, and that they told him to like come out really hard and really strong.
Mm.
Uh, I think to try and get me out of there because I think he knew that he was losing, and I think that's where he got caught was, you know, overextending himself and uh, standing up in the pocket. So I don't know what did you have it scored going into the eighth?
It was hard because I was, I was working the broadcast. I thought you were up. I thought you were up either 4-3 or 5-2.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them were super close. I would love to see open scoring. Do you think open scoring would be? I ask a lot of people this question. Do you think it would be of benefit to someone in your position? Like, would you have liked to know for sure where you're at, or you don't care about that?
Um, I mean, my coaches pretty much score it. They tell me when I come back to the corner, and they had it scored that same way, like 5 rounds to 2, pretty much. Um, so they knew I was up. I think open scoring would be interesting. I see both sides of it though. Like, would it make you like fight harder if you're down on the scorecard?
Right.
Or like, I don't know. I think that's just something you should like know and feel, and if it's a close fight, so you really gotta press the action regardless if it's a close fight. So I don't know.
I asked you afterwards, what will they say now? And I made a point not to look at Twitter or anything. You okay? You doing all right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
This is a tougher, matchup for you than Saturday night against Anderson.
Yeah.
I said, what will they say now? And it was like an honest question because I didn't know what people were saying. I didn't look at Twitter during the broadcast or anything like that. And then I get on Twitter and I see a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, he's too old. He's not a real boxer. The same old hits. What are you hearing? What are they saying now? Do you feel like you're getting props for this, or do you feel like people are bringing up other stuff to discredit you?
I think smart people with intelligence are giving me props and respect. Like the WBC president, saying that anyone who says Jake is not a real boxer is just bitter and is a hater. Um, people like Teddy Atlas showing me mad respect. A lot of fighters showing me mad respect. Um, a lot of MMA guys texting me saying that you looked really sharp. That was the best you fought. Ryan Garcia showing me respect. So the smart people who I care about are, showing that love. There are the people who will always be there in my career that are discrediting it. And now they're saying it was rigged. They're like, it went from Jake's going to get knocked out by Anderson to, oh, that was rigged.
Does this drive you nuts? It drives me nuts just seeing people make up this shit. I talked about it earlier on the show. When you see this, it's like, look at him. He didn't really get punched. Look at how he fell. How do you react when you see this stuff?
I lose faith in my generation and my peers and like us as a society and in a world just when I see that type of stuff and that type of stupidity. Uh, yeah, it just sucks. And it sucks because I work so hard for this, like I dedicate everything, sacrifice everything every single day, bust my balls, have a 15-person team working around the clock to help me become the best boxer possible. And when I do something like beating Anderson Silva, yeah, they try to take it away from me. But I know deep down, and I guess that's all that really matters.
Earlier in the program, we had your old friend Tommy Fury on. I'm sure you're not surprised to hear that he wasn't very impressed with your performance. He said that he would beat you easily. You fought an old man, all this stuff. He's ready to fight you after his fight next week. Do you have any interest in this fight against Tommy Fury?
Yeah, there's definitely interest. I think if his team is taking the financial risk and like putting the event on, then I'm cool with that. I just don't want to take the risk anymore because I think he's going to back out again, most likely. Um, but it's an easy fight for me, like way easier than Anderson. The kid's a novice. He's never fought anyone good. He's never even fought an 8-round fight. So uh, he just doesn't have the experience like I do, which is crazy to say because he's been doing it his whole life. But people call him a professional boxer and they respect him as a professional boxer. So yeah, I mean, I would love to strip that title from him, and I wouldn't even actually have to train for that fight. I would still train because I'm a professional, but I wouldn't have to train to fight him.
He still can't come to the States. Would you be willing to fight him in the UK or somewhere overseas?
Yeah, yeah,
You would.
I think that would be epic. And I love going to those crowds, because they would all boo me, and then I shut them up all the time. So I like playing that role and like being the heel, especially in the UK.
When we spoke in the ring, you said Nate, you said Canelo, you didn't mention Tommy, but I feel like that could be the easiest one to make. Is there a chance that's next for you?
Um, I guess we have to go to the drawing board. Like I haven't really even had a chance to like decompress and like see if there's other fighters calling me out. But definitely a lot of options on the table. Um, and just gonna do what makes the most sense and makes the most hype. Um, so back to the drawing board, I guess.
What happened in the hallway with Nate's team and your team? What do you know now that maybe you didn't know on Saturday?
Yeah, um, they were talking shit to someone on my team and like flipping them off and shit, and then they threw a water bottle at my teammate. Um, and then they started just throwing like liquids and boxes and random shit up in the air, and that's when my security got involved and like rushed them, and they like backed all the way down the hallway. um and some person from my team was like just walking by trying to get into my locker room, which is right there, and he got like caught in the crossfire. He didn't even know what was going on, and all of a sudden he got like choked. um but then my security rushed them and they like pussied out and like ran away.
That would obviously be a gigantic deal. Do you think that fight happens next year?
If he's actually out of his UFC contract, I would be down. I just beat one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time. Nate Diaz is easy work. Anderson Silva is way more difficult than Nate Diaz.
You think so? Why?
But well, he's like slow, and at the end of his career, like he's lost it. As far as striking, like maybe he still has jujitsu, but as far as like striking and all that, um, he's just like a street fighter. And this is boxing is like a purist sport. It's art, and you can't come in and street fight someone in a boxing match. Anderson has length, has the height. Anderson hits harder, is more slippery, has better head movement. The list goes on. So
Of all the
I,
options
I
out there,
know I know so I know so that Nate is easier.
of all the options out there, which one do you think sells the most? Which is the biggest fight that you think you can get?
Uh, yeah, probably Nate. Probably Nate is the biggest. Um, it would be interesting still to fight Floyd though in an actual professional bout.
Is that something you want? I've never really heard you
Yeah,
talk about Floyd recently.
yeah. I first of all, that's still a big fight, and he's still a massive, massive draw. And if it was an actual pro match, I think people would be super, super interested. Um,
You're so much bigger than him, no? Like, isn't he 47, 54? How low can you get?
so he fought my brother weighing Logan was weighing 190. I could get to 175,
Wow.
and Floyd could weigh 165, and a commission would approve that.
Wow. That's like a bucket list fight for you.
Yeah, I just know I would win, and I would love to take his O. And it would be a massive, you know, a massive fight, like as far as pay-per-views. Um, so I would love to do that for
I-
sure.
In terms of like checklists, what's the biggest one that you want to check off next? Is it fight the real boxer? Is it fight a guy like Nate? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you're checking off things with every fight. What's that big one that you hear the most about that you haven't done that you want to kind of cross off so that people at least stop bringing that up?
Um,
Like, what do you feel like drives you at this point?
yeah, I mean, I feel like definitely professional boxer is like the number one criticism. But anyone who, again, is smart knows that Anderson Silva is a real professional boxer and just beat a former world champion. So I don't know. I haven't really been on social media like seeing if people are still criticizing because of that. Like I've seen the rigged thing, but uh, yeah, I, at this point I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want,
Yeah.
like and fight whoever's ready and willing to actually show up.
And speaking of that, and I'll let you go in a moment. Thank you again for the time. And speaking of that, one thing I've never asked you about, but I've always wondered, most people get into fighting to make money, right? It's prize fighting. They usually come from tough backgrounds. They want to get rich. And then what happens often, they get rich, very rich, generational wealth, and then they lose that sort of fire, right? You came into this as a relatively rich man. You're obviously a lot richer now by doing this, but you already had money. And so at some point, is there any part of you that's like, yo, I have my millions. Why am I waking up to do this? Well, and you're so young and so fresh in your career, but you already have the money that people dream of having at the end of their career. So why would you keep fighting, sparring, running when you already got to the other side of the rainbow and have everything that people usually fight for?
I love it, man. I love this shit. I'm addicted to it. I love all aspects of it. Like even I was cutting weight for this fight, and I was just like, man, something about this I fucking love, which is weird. But it's like the challenge of it, the warrior feel, getting in the ring under those lights like a gladiator. This is what I was made to do, and it's fucking addicting. And um, I wouldn't change it for anything, man. And I feel like I was put on this earth to box, and it's helped me in so many different ways. It's helped me with routine, discipline, helped me figure out who I am as a person and as a man. And I owe this sport everything, man. And I just love it so much. I have such a deep burning passion for this sport.
And so ultimately, do you think you've already exceeded your own expectations from the kid who started this 3 years ago? Like that video of you punching, hitting mitts, that's absurd. It like doesn't even look like the same human being. Would you say you've already exceeded your own expectations?
100%. 100%. Anything else that happens now is just a cherry on top. You know, my brother just says that I should retire and leave the leave the world and just like leave people with their jaws dropped. Like that kid just went 6-0, beat some of the MMA's best, and then just doesn't do it anymore. But I'm not gonna do that. But I have exceeded my own expectations, and I think this is just the start, man. Like I'm really starting to get good, and there's a lot of people that I want to beat, and I want to be a world champion
And you think you get to 10 fights?
for sure. I originally was like, I'll go 10-0 and then retire, but now I'm 6-0, and it feels like I just am getting warmed up. So who knows what who knows what ends up happening.
Realistically, when do you fight again?
Um, sometime next year, like early, probably Q1 or Q2 of next year.
Oh, that Q1. That's not that far away.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be down if
Wow.
we can make something happen. Like I've just had such a long time off, right?
Right.
Um, and I've been training this whole year, but the point of this sport is to go in and actually fight. So I'm down to stay active.
Crystal ball. Who's that guy?
Man, I don't know.
It's wide open
I
right
don't
now.
know. Yeah, I don't know. And I need to fucking talk to Nikisa. I I'm 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 gonna figure it out though.
What were you going to say
But
there?
No, I've just been like celebrating.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I'm sick now, and like I just need to have discussions
Sure. It's
with
fresh.
Issa about like who's available and who like what the word on the street has been. I'm sure he's been talking to people. Um, so we'll see.
Okay, two last things. How confident are you that this fighters association that was part of the the bet, of course, which you won, how confident are you that this happens, and how confident are you that, well, it's a three-part. How confident are you that it happens, that Anderson helps, and then what needs to happen now? Like, what are you doing to actually get this off the ground?
Yeah, I'm very confident it happens and that Anderson will help. I think he's a man of his word, and this is needed. It's been needed for so long. Um, and right now we're talking with lawyers to get everything set up and to figure out the structure and to start to ideate on what this union looks like and how it will be operated.
And
Um,
obviously, you need the fighters to be on board. Are you confident they'll be on board, considering you're somewhat polarizing to them?
yeah, no, I think that's where people like Anderson Silva joining
Hmm.
really help because they respect him. But I think that fighters, regardless of if they hate me or love me, I'm trying to help them. And they just should see that because I'm just continuing to help fighters nonstop, and they should see the things I've done for Amanda Serrano and like the situation that she was in. Um, and I just want to help. So they could hate me or not really even respect me, but we should be on the same team. That's the whole point of this union is let's band together and be strong as one. And so I might not even like a certain fighter that wants to be in the union, but it doesn't matter. I'm putting my ego aside because this is going to benefit all of us.
And finally, speaking of Amanda Serrano, earlier today we had Katie Taylor on. We got to see this, man. We got to see this, and I feel, and I worry, with all due respect, I worry you and Eddie and your issue is the roadblock to seeing this happen. Croke Park, 80,000 people in May in Ireland. This would be like one of the greatest scenes ever in boxing. Can we put aside our issues with Eddie to make this happen? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That has nothing to do with it. Amanda wants to make that happen, and she wants to become undisputed at 126. So she wants to go after Erica Cruz, and get that last belt to be undisputed. Um, and she wants this rematch with Katie Taylor. So just figuring out the business side of it and what makes sense and when. Um, we haven't heard anything from their side. We've made offers financially, and haven't nothing's come from their end. So we've been the one pushing the envelope and pushing the ball forward, and um, they've been kicking the can down the road.
All right, well, hopefully it happens. They say they have a date. They have the venue, Croke Park, 80,000 people. Would be pretty damn incredible to be a part of that. Another notch on your belt. So, I mean, I'm just trying. Should I bring Eddie in? Maybe we could do a little, a little rematch of the face to face, something like that. I don't know. I mean, look, if you and I could settle our differences, I feel like you and Eddie can settle your differences.
Sorry, the difference is you're a great person, and we just like made fun of each other on Twitter like as jokes.
Right.
Like I have nothing against you. Like you've always been there, supporting me, rooting for me. And I really appreciate that. And so if we joke on Twitter, that's one thing, but
Yeah, I'm kidding, of course.
Eddie Hearn's actually a fucking he's a snake. So he's a bad person. Um so yeah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Feel better. Congratulations, man. What a scene. What a spectacle. A lot of respect for you. I don't think people understand what it means to go 8 rounds with Anderson Silva. I don't care what his age is. And I agree with everything you said about him versus who a typical 5-0, 6-0 boxer is fighting. So I hope you are proud of yourself. Hold your head up high. And what a week for the Paul family. Now your brother's off to Saudi Arabia to challenge Roman Reigns on November 5th, this Saturday. So incredible stuff. Congrats to all of you and enjoy the victory. And I hope you feel better. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, there he is, Jake Paul joining us under the weather, but kind enough to join us.